Hey everybody, and in this video we are going to work with partial fraction decomposition, and this is part 1 because there's going to be a part 2 video that goes into more complicated examples. So basically for this one you want to factor, you want to split your fraction, you want to find a common denominator, and then you want to solve using systems. And again, this is a follow-up to the RREF system of equations in your calculator video. And basically the directions would just say find the partial fraction decomposition. So it's actually not as bad as it thinks since we're allowed to use our graphing calculator. So what we're going to do here, step 1, we are going to rewrite this a little bit. And what it means is we're going to split this into two fractions. How? Well, we're going to first factor this, which we know would just be x plus 2. And an x minus 1. So what we are going to do is split this into a over plus b over. And those two fractions are going to be the two different parts of the denominator. If there were more than two parts, we would have more fractions, which part 2 of the video. So we're just going to put x plus 2 under a and our x minus 1 under b. So now we have to talk about the common denominator part. If we were finding a common denominator, we would have to multiply this side by the missing x minus 1. And we would have to multiply this side by the x plus 2. Okay, so now what we are going to do is just use the numerator now. So this would be equal to, if we were to go all the way across, 3x is equal to a times x minus 1 plus b times x plus 2, which of course would give us 3x is equal to ax minus a plus bx plus 2b. And just to make things easier, this has a 3x. You should add a constant of 0. And here's why. You are now going to split this into two separate standard form equations. This one is going to compare your x's only. So we have a 3x is equal to ax plus bx. And since they're all x's, we're just going to say that this is 3 is equal to a plus b. That is one of your equations. And then you are going to do another one that is just your numbers only, or your constants. And that's why we needed to add a 0. So we have 0 is equal to a negative a plus 2b. Okay? And that's what we've got. So what we're going to do with this now is plug these two into our RREF. So in the matrix, remember, basically what you would do here is have our 1, 1, and then our 3. Constant usually goes on the right, just so your calculator knows. And then a negative 1, 2, 0. And then just type that in the graphing calculator, and your RREF is going to give you that A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 1. So then, to write your final answer for your partial fraction decomposition, we're just going to plug in the 2 and the 1 into A and the B. So our final answer is 2 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x minus 1. And that's it. Game over. So it's a little tricky, but the calculator does all the solving for you. You just have to know what steps to do. So I am going to say there's a second example. Why don't you pause the video and see if you can handle it on your own. I'll touch base with you in a second. See if you got it. Pause and give it a try. Okay, so for this one, you should have a over x plus b over x plus 2. The denominator was already factored, so there was nothing fancy to do over there. We need to multiply this one by the x plus 2, and this one by the x. Again, you would be doing it to the top and bottom, but we're only going to be working with the numerator. So we're going to end up with 4 is equal to, distribute your a, that's going to be ax plus 2a plus bx. Just like the last one, you should have both terms on the other side, so I'm going to add a 0x to the left this time. We already have the constant, we don't have our x's. Okay? So then we need to have our x's and then our constants. So for the x's, we're going to have 0x is equal to ax plus bx. So we're just going to write it as 0 is equal to a plus b. And then we're going to have our constants, or our numbers. That's going to be 4 is equal to 2a, and we don't have a constant for the b. So you could write plus 0b. And now we're just going to use our graphing calculator. So we've got our matrix, which is going to give us 1, 1, 0. And we're going to have our 2, 0, 4 for our constants. We are going to get a is equal to 2. B is equal to a negative 2 once we use our graphing calculator. And then you're just going to write your final answer. So we know a is 2, so we're going to have 2 over x plus negative 2 over x plus 2. Okay, and that's it for partial fraction decomposition. This is Longo and I'm out. See you, bye.